talk more about Panthers Bucs and the division apparently nobody wants to win. The NFC South, for the Panthers, only one of these things has to happen. They can win or tie. Or the Falcons win Saturday. For the Bucs, they are not in control of their own destiny. They need two things. They got to win and get the Falcons to lose or tie to the Saints. New Orleans has won 4 in a row. You might be wondering how the Bucs got here after starting 6-2. It's a good question, NFL Live viewer. Tampa's 1-7 since its bye, including an active 4-game losing streak, which started to an upset home loss to New Orleans. Close losses continued days later against the Falcons, who came back from 14 down in the fourth to beat the Bucs by 1. Zane Gonzalez in Tampa again hit the game-winning field goal. Then Week 16, the first matchup against Carolina, Tampa led after halftime on the road, but a late pick by Baker Mayfield ended the potential game-winning drive. Then another close call Sunday in Miami. Tampa trailed by 10 in the fourth quarter, but failed to recover an onside kick to keep the game alive. The Bucs lose to the eliminated Finns by 3. For the love of Bucko Bruce, can we win a close game? These have been a problem in Todd Bowles' tenure. In one-score games, those decided by 8 points or fewer, that's a bad omen. Tampa has allowed 666 more yards than their opponents. They have a sub-500 record. Here's Baker Mayfield and Bowles today on their mindset heading into Saturday's finale.
You have to have a short memory, and I do. I know what the priority is, and that's winning Saturday. To be able to completely forget what's gone on, no, it's being the competitor I am, I'm frustrated with where we're at, but I'm able to, compartmentalize and be able to focus on Saturday.
We've made this bed. We understand that. We can't do anything on Sunday unless we win on Saturday.
Mina, Marcus, and Dan back with us. Dan, I thought buys were supposed to help. Tampa's 1-7 since theirs, and the only wins over Arizona, who hasn't won since week 2. What's behind the Bucs' offensive struggles in the second half of the season?
Yeah, stop treating Baker Mayfield like he's Josh Allen. I think there's so much on Baker Mayfield's plate, and they ask him to do so much. And I know that they have dealt with offensive line injuries, and Bucky Irving has missed time and all that, but they don't run the football at all. And then what happens is Baker's an aggressive player. He's a gunslinger. And so you get into these second halves, and all of a sudden he's trying to force every single throw, make every big player have that hero ball moment. Now, I'm not absolving Baker of it. There's no question about it. But to your point, Phil, with your arena before, these close games, these back-breaking just interceptions in the second half of football games are killing this football team right now. And obviously it's one game left, win or go home type of thing. And I think it's going to be a fourth quarter football game, but they're going to have to find just a little bit of like help or balance, or Baker don't win the football game for us right now to realistically think that they can play their best football late.
If Baker Mayfield tries to force the ball downfield against Carolina the way he did against Miami, they're going to pick him. The Carolina pass defense is flawed, but they got 2 cornerbacks who are ball hawks. J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, who's been quietly having a really good season for them and picked Sam Darnold last week. The other thing I would say about this Carolina defense, there's a major split in how good they are against deep passes versus short ones. They are 6th league-wide in e-paper play against deep passes, 30th against short ones. There is no need to play hero ball here. Baker Mayfield doesn't need to be a gunslinger in this game. He needs to be a distributor and let his playmakers go to work. Let them win the game for him.
Yeah, for the sake of not beating the dead horse, D.O. and MK, you know where I was going, Dan. Bucky Irving had 9 carries last week, and Baker Mayfield
17 yards.
had 3. There was a total of 15. There was a total of 15 rushes from their backs in the game. That's not the recipe for success. This team also early in the beginning of the year, I thought this would be one of the strong suits. As much as we talked about Egbuka and how phenomenal he was playing for a rookie, this team was able to line up and churn yards. And to your point, offensive line issues, Bucky Irving missed time, you had White. But at the end of the day, D.O., you've heard me say this about Josh Allen, just like I will say about Baker Mayfield, and it was Baker Mayfield issue in Cleveland. When they get around that 40 mark or that high 30s in dropbacks and attempts, I get nervous because these guys are uber aggressive. They realize how much their team needs to make a play, and they are going to take those chances in those moments in order to try to win football games. It's how they're wired. And sometimes it works out and we applaud them and we talk about how phenomenal they are. But we also have to remember that this league is full of grown men on defense that have playmakers as well. And when it's not going your way and not working out right, the games happen like this. This team is 1-7 after their bye week. Yeah. And you can, for each game, you can find those 2 or 3 moments when it's do or die feels like, and it doesn't go their way. And that's what this team is living by. And you cannot, in the run game or some sort of easy out is what remedies that for an offense.
Yeah, and during this 4-game losing streak, none of the opponents are over 500. Swagu, you talk about the run game for Tampa. 5.1 yards per carry 2 weeks ago in Charlotte. If they repeat that at home Saturday, it is hard not to like the Bucs' chances to at least do their part to clinch the NFC South. Still need to.
Our colleague Herm Edwards says you play to win the game, and it won't be more true than on Sunday night. The winner of Steelers-Ravens wins the AFC North and makes the playoffs. The loser doesn't get to play any more games this season. Baltimore is trying to become just the 5th team to start a season 1-5 and then make the postseason. NFL insider Dan Graziano with us now. Dan, what's the latest on Lamar Jackson's availability for the Ravens this weekend?
Still to be determined. John Harbaugh, the head coach, saying yesterday that he was pleased with how Lamar made progress last week, in terms of how he was feeling, but he wasn't able to get on the practice field last week. So their first official practice for this week's game will be tomorrow. The Ravens' hope is that at some point tomorrow or Thursday, or certainly no later than Friday, they'll be able to see Lamar Jackson on the practice field and assess his readiness for Sunday night's game. There is at least some hope that he'll be able to return, but until they find out how much he can do, if anything, at practice and how his injured back responds to whatever work he gets at practice this week, they won't know for sure, so they're going to have to get Tyler Huntley ready just in case.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. Dan, I got one more for you, totally different subject. Much has been made over this potentially being it for Travis Kelce's career. What are folks around the league saying about their expectations for Kelce being back with the Chiefs next year?
Yeah, obviously, mainly speculative, but, he's year to year with the Chiefs. The contract is up at the end of this year. I'm sure the Chiefs would be interested in at least listening if he wanted to come back on the right kind of deal. But, he's 36 years old. He's obviously put his body through an awful lot in terms of the way he's played and how much he's played over the years. Remember, playing for the Chiefs over the last decade, you've put an additional, season and a half worth of playoff games on your body. So I think the expectation around the league is probably that Travis Kelce hangs it up at the end of this season. But again, nothing official. And obviously he's got a lot going on in his life. He's getting married. I forget her name. But he is having that happen this offseason. So, and obviously a lot of lucrative opportunities, I'm sure, await him post-career. So he might be eager to get to that. But yeah, I think people are probably thinking this is it. We'll wait to hear from him officially.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I was Googling as you were talking. I don't think she's famous or anything. We'll find out someday who he's marrying. I don't know who it is either.
But it begins with a T?
I think so.
Yeah,
right.
I don't remember.